Welcome to Sleepy Science, the place where the universe drifts into calm stories, where your thoughts soften under dim light, and where cosmic mysteries unfold slowly enough to guide you toward deeper calm. If you enjoy relaxing science journeys like this, remember to subscribe and tap the like button. It truly helps our quiet corner of the cosmos grow. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? And what time is it right now? Share it in the comments so we can see how people across the world drift together under the same quiet horizon. Now, settle in. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your breath deepen. And allow a gentle sense of curiosity to drift in as we explore one of the most ancient stories in our cosmic neighborhood, the birth of the sun. Long before Earth existed, long before oceans shimmered or mountains rose, long before life breathed its first quiet breath, there was a vast, cold cloud drifting through the darkness of the galaxy. It moved slowly, almost frozen in time, spread thin across the silent void. This cloud was filled with dust, gas, and the faint memory of older stars that had faded long ago. And in its stillness lay the seeds of a new beginning, the beginning of the sun. Imagine this cloud as a soft, shadowy ocean floating between the stars. The light of distant galaxies barely reached it, fading before it could touch the particles drifting inside. Everything felt suspended, weightless, wrapped in the calm of the cosmic night. There was no warmth, no glow, no storm. Just a quiet field of gas spreading across the darkness, waiting for something to stir. In this dim environment, gravity began its gentle pull. It didn't rush or roar. It worked patiently, gathering small patches of gas closer together. Over long stretches of cosmic time, these patches drifted inward, merging, folding, and sinking into a growing center. The cloud slowly lost its restful shape, collapsing into something denser, warmer, more focused. You can imagine it like dust gathering in a soft swirl on a quiet morning, except this swirl spread across light years of space. As the cloud collapsed, its core began to warm. Molecules moved faster, collisions grew more frequent, and the faint heat started to build like a tiny ember in the coal. Still, there was no light yet. Only the beginnings of pressure, the early rhythm of something preparing to shine. Astronomers call this stage a protostar, a star in its quiet infancy, glowing only from the gentle heat of its own contraction. Picture this protostar forming at the heart of the collapsing cloud, a warm, dim sphere surrounded by swirling gas. Everything around it moves in slow spirals, drifting inward like gentle waves. The darkness feels thick, timeless, peaceful. The protostar breathing softly as it gathers mass from the envelope around it. Each bit of gas falling inward adds to its warmth, squeezing its core tighter. Around this forming sun, a disk of material begins to flatten. Dust grains swirl. Ice particles drift. The early ingredients of planets, moons, and asteroids circle quietly, still shapeless, still waiting for their moment. In the center of all of this, the protostar grows hotter, brighter, denser. And as you imagine this ancient moment, let yourself feel the calm of it. Let the slow collapse of the clouds soften your mind. Let the gentle waves of drifting dust bring a deeper calm. The sun's birth was not explosive at first. It was tranquil, slow, shaped by quiet gravity and cosmic patience. The glow at its center brightened over ages, its heat rising, its pressure building, its core slowly preparing for the moment when everything would change, when darkness would fade into light. But for now, in this early stage, it remains soft, warm, silent, waiting to become a star. Deep within the collapsing cloud, the protostar continued to form, wrapped in layers of drifting gas and shadows thicker than any night on Earth. From the outside, it looked like nothing more than a faint glow hidden inside a cocoon of darkness. But within that cocoon, something extraordinary was unfolding. The gentle rise of pressure, warmth, and motion that would someday ignite the sun. Imagine hovering inside this enormous cloud. All around you, particles drift like tiny grains suspended in a slow cosmic breeze. There is no sound, only the soft silence of deep space. The kind of silence that feels endless, like a dream without edges. The light is dim, barely visible, cast from the early heat of the protostar's compression. It's not bright enough to illuminate the cloud, yet enough to remind the universe that something is beginning. Gravity continues to draw material inward, folding the cloud into a tighter embrace. As gas falls toward the center, it accelerates slightly, feeding the protostar like gentle waves feeding a glowing ember. Each particle that sinks inward increases the pressure at the core, warming it further. The protostar pulses softly, its outer layers swirling in slow motion, drifting and folding like a warm mist turning upon itself. Around this forming sun, the disk of gas and dust grows flatter and more organized. It rotates like a wide cosmic whirlpool, a graceful spiral stretching across millions of kilometers. Dust grains collide gently, sometimes sticking together, sometimes breaking apart. Each collision another quiet step toward the future birth of planets. The entire region moves as if choreographed by unseen hands, following the rhythm of gravity and rotation. Inside the protostar, the temperature continues to rise. The pressure increases until atoms are pushed so close together that their motions blur, their collisions becoming more frequent, more intense. Yet still, the protostar does not shine like a true star. This stage is quiet, slow, patient, like the deep, steady breathing before dawn breaks over a sleeping landscape. And as the protostar warms, it begins to send out soft winds. Not violent storms, but slow, drifting flows of charged particles that push outward into the surrounding cloud. These early winds carve subtle shapes in the gas, creating long corridors, pillars, and smooth arcs. They help clear space around the forming sun, allowing its glow to slowly emerge through the haze. Picture this moment from afar, a cocoon of dust suspended in the dark. A faint, warm heart beating within, layers slowly thinning under gentle winds. A glow rising, softening the shadows, hinting at the star to come. The protostar grows brighter, but not harsh. Its light is still muted, filtered through the cloud that shelters it. Inside, the core grows hotter, inching closer to the threshold where nuclear reactions will awaken. The moment when hydrogen atoms will fuse together, releasing true starlight for the first time. But that moment has not arrived yet. For now, the protostar is still dreaming of becoming a star, still drifting through its slow awakening. As you imagine this warm sphere forming in silence, let your thoughts drift with it. Feel the slow rise of heat. Feel the gentle gathering of pressure. Feel the quiet approach of something transformative. Still holding on to the last traces of darkness before the first real light breaks free. Let the scene soften your breathing. Let the cosmic stillness settle into your mind. Let the protostar's slow awakening lead you into deeper calm, deeper quiet, deeper peace. As the protostar continued its long, quiet collapse, the temperature deep in its core climbed higher and higher, rising slowly like the glow of embers hidden beneath layers of ash. For millions of years, the warm heart of this forming sun gathered strength in silence, each drifting particle adding just a little more pressure, a little more heat. The darkness around it remained thick and tranquil, but within that darkness, something transformative was quietly preparing to unfold. Imagine floating deep inside the protostar, in a region where everything is warm, dense, and softly glowing. Atoms drift close together, bumping against one another in gentle but constant motion. The deeper you move, the more intense the heat becomes. Yet it's not a burning sensation. It's a deep, enveloping warmth, like sinking into a silent ocean of fireless light. There is no flame, no spark, no brightness. Yet the tension builds with every passing moment. Around the protostar, the disk of dust and gas continues its slow rotation. It spreads outward like a cosmic whirlpool, its particles drifting in long arcs under the pull of gravity. Some clumps grow larger, some scatter into fine grains again, but all remain part of the swirling cradle that will one day give birth to planets, comets, and small worlds lit by the future sun's glow. Everything orbits in patience, drifting around the central mass as if dancing through deep time. Inside the protostar's core, hydrogen atoms begin to feel the immense pressure. They are pushed so close together that their very identities blur. Temperature rises, motion speeds up, collisions grow more intense. And then, at last, after an age of silent preparation, the core reaches the threshold for nuclear fusion. Fusion does not begin with an explosion. It begins with a whisper. The first few hydrogen atoms merging into helium, releasing energy in a soft, radiant pulse. This pulse travels outward through dense layers, bumping into particles, scattering, slowing, softening. As more atoms fuse, the pulses become more frequent, more steady, forming the first true heartbeat of the sun. From the outside, the change feels slow, almost unnoticeable. But deep inside, the core transforms from a warm, collapsing sphere into a blazing engine of light. Fusion releases vast amounts of energy, enough to push outward against gravity's pull. The protostar stabilizes for the first time. It stops collapsing. It finds balance. It becomes a newborn star. Picture that moment in your mind. A sphere of light forming in near total darkness. Pressure balancing against the gentle outward push of fusion. Energy moving upward through heavy layers, slowly making its way to the surface. The cocoon of gas thinning as the young sun pushes back the shadows. The first sunlight is faint, filtered through thick clouds of gas and dust. It glows like a soft, golden haze, drifting through the darkness. The surrounding cloud begins to fade, softened by the emerging brilliance. Over time, solar winds strengthen, sweeping away the remaining dust in gentle waves and allowing the newborn sun to shine freely for the first time. This is the moment when the galaxy notices, when a new point of light joins the countless others scattered across the sky. The cluster of stars around it welcomes the newcomer, their gentle glow mingling with the sun's early radiance. The darkness is still immense, still quiet. But now one more flame burns within it, offering warmth to the forming worlds around it. Let this awakening linger in your thoughts. Feel the slow rise of light. Feel the soft glow expanding outward. Feel the darkness drifting back as a new star finds its voice. And as your breathing softens, let the sun's quiet birth guide you into deeper calm, like a faint dawn rising within your mind, warm, slow, peaceful, and timeless. As the newborn sun continued to glow, its first true light pressed outward through the thick cocoon of gas that had nurtured it for millions of years. At first, the light barely escaped, absorbed and scattered by particles drifting in the darkness. But slowly, gently, the radiance grew stronger, the pressure of energy increased, and the sun began to carve out a space for itself, a warm clearing inside the cold ancient cloud that had given it light. Imagine that cloud now, illuminated from within. The interior glows in deep amber hues. Dust grains shimmer faintly as beams of soft light drift past them. The center, once wrapped in timeless darkness, begins to brighten, not suddenly, but with a tender, calming rise, like dawn spreading across a quiet horizon. The sun's early winds strengthen. These winds are not storms. They are slow, steady flows of charged particles moving outward in every direction. They sweep the surrounding material with gentle waves, pushing dust outward and smoothing the inner regions of the cloud. The sun clears its immediate neighborhood not with force, but with continuous radiation, creating a bubble of clearer space where light can drift freely. As the cocoon thins, the glow becomes clearer, warmer. Imagine watching this from afar. A cloud collapsing inward, then glowing. Inside this growing space, the swirling disk of material around the sun becomes more defined. Dust settles into a flattened plane, spinning gently around the star like a cosmic ring. Tiny particles collide and stick together in the calm center of the disk. Some become grains the size of sand. Some become pebbles. Over time, these will drift into larger bodies, the early seeds of planets, moons, and asteroids. Meanwhile, the sun stabilizes. Fusion burns steadily in its core, producing a soft and constant energy flow. The outward pressure of this heat balances gravity's inward pull. This balance forms what astronomers call hydrostatic equilibrium, the moment when a star finds its long-term rhythm. You can imagine it as the sun's breath settling into a peaceful pattern, each pulse of energy balanced perfectly by the weight of its own mass. The surrounding nebula begins to fade, lifted by the sun's growing brilliance. What was once a shadowed region now becomes a clearing of starlight. Dust is pushed outward. Gas disperses into the quiet void. The young sun stands revealed for the first time, its warm glow stretching across the swirling disk that continues to drift around it. This transformation is slow, serene, no violent shockwaves, no chaotic bursts. Only the steady, patient clearing of a new star's home. A clearing that will one day cradle planets and oceans, atmospheres, and life. Let the calmness of this image settle into your mind. Picture light expanding softly. Picture darkness gently fading. Picture the sun breathing into the void, creating space for the worlds to come. As the light pushes outward, your thoughts can drift with it, stretching into deeper calm. Feel the heaviness of the day soften. Feel the dim light of the protostar become the warm glow of a rising star inside your imagination. Drift into the serenity of cosmic dawn, where everything moves slowly and nothing is rushed. As the newborn sun cleared its surroundings, the remaining dust and gas settled into a vast spinning structure around it, a glowing, delicate disk shaped by gravity and motion. This protoplanetary disk became the cradle not only of the sun's early development, but also of every world, moon, comet, and asteroid that would someday orbit it. It was a swirling sea of possibilities, drifting and shimmering under the sun's warm, rising light. Imagine this disk stretching outward in a wide, flat circle, closer to the sun. The light is warm, making the dust glow in soft gold and copper tones. Farther away, the light fades into dim silver, casting long shadows across colder regions. The whole structure rotates gently, moving with the quiet patience of cosmic time. Dust grains drift through the disk like tiny worlds searching for a place to belong. They collide softly, sticking together through faint electric forces. Over time, these grains form pebbles, then stones, then boulder-sized clumps that tumble through the gas. Every moment is slow, gentle, almost dreamlike. Nothing happens with a sound, only with calm, inevitable motion. Heat radiates from the young sun, warming the inner regions and creating subtle pressure differences that shape the disk into rings, waves, and smooth spirals. These structures act like cosmic lanes, guiding particles along specific paths. Where gas is denser, materials collect. Where it is thinner, gaps begin to appear, early hints of planetary formation etched into the sunlight. Picture drifting above the disk, watching it from a serene vantage point. You see golden swirls near the center, glowing with the sun's warmth. You see long curves fading outward like soft ripples on a quiet lake. You see icy grains in the distant regions reflecting only a faint glimmer of light. In these outer zones, temperatures are low enough for ices to remain solid. Water ice, methane ice, ammonia ice. These frozen particles drift with deeper calm, moving more slowly, building larger clumps. These distant colder regions will one day become the home of giant planets, icy moons, and drifting comets. Closer in, the warmth prevents ices from forming. Instead, rocky material dominates. Silicates and metals swirl through the inner region, gradually merging into the building blocks of terrestrial planets. Earth, Venus, Mars, and Mercury all begin here, as nothing more than soft clusters of warm dust. Meanwhile, the sun's glow continues to brighten as fusion stabilizes in the core. Its light pushes gently against the gas of the disk, shaping it, thinning it, guiding its motion. Solar winds begin to grow stronger, carving channels and clearing paths. Little by little, the inner disk becomes more defined, less clouded, more open to the sun's rising clarity. Through all of this, the process remains quiet. No sudden creation, no violent crash, only drift, fade, soften, and the slow merging of matter under the gentle rules of gravity. Let this vision fill your imagination. A peaceful sea of dust, illuminated by the warm glow of a young star. Particles gliding like gentle waves, merging into larger forms. Light drifting outward into darkness, creating order from chaos. As you breathe deeply, let your thoughts settle into the same rhythm as the disk, slow, circular, timeless. Each inhale brings you into the warmth of the inner regions. Each exhale drifts you toward the cool, dim edges. The entire formation becomes a cosmic lullaby, a serene cradle where the sun and its future worlds grow together. As the sun continued to gather mass from the swirling disk, its core settled into a stable rhythm, a quiet but powerful balance between gravity pulling inward and fusion pushing outward. This balance marked the sun's entry into what astronomers call the main sequence, a long, peaceful stage where a star shines with steady warmth for billions of years. It is during this tranquil era that the sun becomes the calm, glowing anchor of our solar system. Imagine the sun now, no longer hidden behind thick clouds of dust. Its light moves freely through the disk, illuminating the swirling particles. A warm golden glow fills the inner regions, casting soft shadows across drifting formations. The darkness that once enveloped the star has faded, softened by layers of radiance expanding outward. Deep inside the sun's core, hydrogen atoms fuse into helium, releasing energy that begins as high-energy photons. These photons do not rush outward immediately. Instead, they drift through dense layers of plasma, scattering repeatedly, bouncing countless times in every direction. This journey is slow, unimaginably slow, taking ages for a single photon to reach the surface. But this slow drift is part of the sun's calm nature, a quiet process that creates its stable glow. Once they reach the surface, these photons escape into space as sunlight, gentle waves of warmth that travel across the solar system. This light carries the fingerprints of its long journey, softened and diffused, yet bright enough to shape everything it touches. It warms the forming planets, clears the remaining gas diet. It becomes the heartbeat of the young solar system. Around the sun, the disk of material responds to this steady radiance. Gas warms and expands. Dust grains shimmer in soft golden hues. Pressure differences form smooth spirals and gentle curves through the disk. Everything is shaped by the sun's calm, persistent light. Imagine observing the sun from the edge of the disk. You see a bright sphere surrounded by faint halos of dust. You see glowing streaks of light piercing the swirling matter. You see long shadows stretching across the cool, outer regions. The entire scene feels serene, like a sunrise frozen in time, drifting across cosmic space. As the sun stabilizes, its winds grow stronger and more organized. These winds clear out the leftover gas in the inner disk, carving a clean, warm space that will eventually allow planets to form freely. This clearing is slow, like a gentle breeze sweeping dust from a quiet valley at dawn. Nothing is rushed. Every part of the system settles into place with soft, gradual movement. The sun, still young, shines slightly dimmer than it will later in life, but its glow is already enough to shape the destiny of every world around it. Its light dictates temperature, chemistry, and the slow emergence of planetary structures. Its warmth sets the stage for oceans, atmospheres, and eventually life on a pale blue planet that will one day orbit quietly in just the right place. As you absorb this image, let the sun's steadiness seep into your thoughts. Feel the balance within it, gravity drawing inward, fusion pushing outward, creating a harmony that lasts for billions of years. Feel the slow drift of photons rising from the core. Feel the dim light expanding outward, softening the surrounding darkness. Let this cosmic equilibrium bring deeper calm into your breath, deeper softness into your mind. The sun has found its rhythm, and as it shines, the solar system around it begins to take shape. As the sun grew brighter and more stable, its influence began spreading farther into the swirling disk that surrounded it. This influence came not just from its warm light, but also from a steady stream of charged particles escaping its surface, what astronomers call the solar wind. In the sun's earliest days, these winds were stronger than they are now, more insistent, flowing outward in all directions like a gentle but persistent breath, shaping the environment around it. Imagine these early winds drifting outward from the sun. They sweep through the disk in soft, continuous waves. Not violent, just steady, patient, warm currents of charged particles. As they move, they push away the lightest gases in the inner regions, clearing a space where rocky worlds can begin to grow. Over time, these winds carve subtle patterns in the disk. Closer to the sun, the winds smooth the flow of gas and dust, shaping it into faint spirals and clearing out large regions. Farther away, the winds weaken, allowing thicker layers of material to linger and eventually form giant planets. The entire structure becomes a balance between gravity pulling inward and solar winds gently pushing outward, drifting and fading across the disk. Picture this process from above. The sun sits at the center, glowing warmly. Around it, the disk resembles a wide cosmic river, slowly sculpted by light and wind. Warm inner regions shimmer gold. Cool outer regions drift in shades of deep blue and silver. And throughout it all, the solar wind flows like gentle waves, shaping the future orbits of worlds. These early winds serve another purpose. They help disperse the remaining gas in the inner disk. Without this clearing, planets like Earth might have grown much larger, collecting thick atmospheres of hydrogen and helium, like the gas giants. Instead, the solar wind gently stripped these elements away, leaving behind material rich in rock, metal, and minerals, the ingredients needed for terrestrial planets. As the sun's magnetic field strengthened, these winds followed magnetic paths that arched outward in elegant curves. You can imagine them as delicate threads of energy unspooling from the sun's surface, drifting across space, shaping everything they touched. Sometimes they compress the gas in the disk. Sometimes they sweep it aside. Sometimes they clear gaps that guide dust into new orbits. Over millions of years, the solar wind creates a clean, expansive region around the sun known as the inner solar system. This space begins to feel open, warm, and quiet, a stillness broken only by the slow drift of protoplanets gathering mass from the remaining dust. The once thick nebula has thinned so much that the sun's light now travels freely through it, illuminating new worlds in their earliest stages. Imagine how calm this region must feel. The darkness softening under growing light, the faint glow of dust swirling in quiet arcs, the warmth drifting outward, warming stones that will someday become planets. The solar wind creating gentle waves that move through the disk, bringing a deep, peaceful order. As you picture this environment, let your thoughts follow the same slow currents. Let the sun's early winds sweep gently across your mind, clearing away tension. Let the dim light expand softly, guiding you toward deeper calm. Let yourself drift with the swirling dust, floating weightlessly in the quiet space where worlds are beginning to take shape. The sun is no longer just forming, it is sculpting, guiding, arranging, and the planets are slowly responding. As the solar wind continued shaping the young system, the sun's warmth also played a quiet but essential role in deciding what kinds of worlds could form at different distances. The closer regions became warm, glowing under the sun's early light. Farther out, the warmth faded, dimming into cooler zones where ice could drift and remain solid. This slow, natural separation of temperatures created the blueprint for the planets to come. Imagine moving outward from the sun through the swirling disk. Close to the star, the light feels strong, though still gentle, like warm breath drifting across golden dust. Here, temperatures are too high for water or other ices to survive. Only rock and metal can remain solid, heavy particles settling into the inner regions like warm grains on a sunlit shore. These inner regions pulse with calm energy. Sunlight reflects softly off dust grains. Heat radiates outward in a smooth gradient. Particles drift through the warm haze, merging slowly into larger bodies. This is where the future rocky planets begin their long, slow creation. Tiny fragments forming into stones, stones forming into boulders, and boulders drifting into moon-sized worlds. But as we drift farther from the sun, the warmth fades. The light softens into dim gold, then into muted silver. The airless void grows cooler, allowing ice to form and survive. This is the boundary astronomers call the frost line, a subtle region beyond which water, methane, and ammonia freeze into solid grains. Beyond this faint, invisible line, the disk changes character. Dust is joined by ice, and icy grains stick together more easily than rock because their surfaces are soft and adhesive. These regions become fertile grounds for building massive planets, worlds that will one day gather thick layers of gas, growing into the giants of the outer solar system. Picture floating above this boundary, watching the two regions divide. On one side, warm dust glows softly under steady light. On the other, icy particles shimmer in deeper calm, drifting through dim light. Both regions rotate together, but their destinies are different, shaped by nothing more than the sun's gentle gradient of heat. In the warm zone, rocky planets form slowly. Earth, Venus, Mars, and Mercury, their early pieces colliding softly in a warm fog of dust. Their growth is steady, patient, shaped by the sun's close presence. In the cool region, large icy cores begin to form quickly. They gather mass faster, pulling in gas before the solar wind clears the disk entirely. These become Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, worlds built from cold, drifting material in the quiet outer reaches. Between these regions, thousands of small bodies remain, asteroids, comets, icy fragments drifting like cosmic snowflakes across the faint light. The entire disk becomes a dance of heat and distance. Warm inner seas of dust, cool outer fields of ice, all guided by the sun's quiet glow. As you imagine this, let the gradient of warmth and cold settle into your body like a calming wave. Feel the warm regions near your breath. Feel the cool, dim edges drifting out with each exhale. Let the cosmic arrangement soothe your thoughts, bringing you into deeper calm. The sun has now created the structure of its system: warm inner worlds, cold outer giants, icy edges stretching into the darkness. Everything is in place for the next stage, the slow rise of planets themselves. With the sun glowing steadily at the center, the surrounding disk entered its most delicate phase. Tiny grains that once drifted alone now began to gather into clusters, forming the early shapes of future planets. This transformation unfolded slowly, under the silent guidance of gravity, heat, and time. It was not sudden or chaotic. It was gentle, patient, and deeply calm, as if the universe were sculpting worlds with soft hands. Imagine a single dust grain floating in the warm inner region of the disk. It drifts in quiet arcs, carried by the subtle currents of gas. Another grain bumps into it, lightly, with no sound. They cling together through faint electric forces, forming a slightly larger particle. Then another grain joins, and another, until this tiny seed begins to grow. In countless places across the disk, similar seeds emerge. Some grow into pebble-sized bodies. Some become the size of small stones. Over time, their collisions become more significant. Gravity begins to wake within them. Instead of drifting aimlessly, they start pulling in nearby dust, sweeping quiet paths around the sun. These growing bodies are called planetesimals. They are irregular, silent shapes, moving gently through the gas, gathering more material with every orbit. When two planetesimals meet, they merge into something larger. Sometimes the collisions are soft, guided by dust cushions and slow speeds. Sometimes they are strong, reshaping both objects into a new, unified form. Yet even then, the surrounding space remains calm, filled with drifting light and dim shadows. Picture the inner region now. Warm sunlight filters through the thinning disk. Thousands of small worlds circle the sun. Some are the size of mountains. Some rival entire islands. All move in graceful, slow orbits, following lines carved by gravity and time. In the outer disk, icy planetesimals grow more quickly. Their surfaces are soft and sticky, helping them accumulate mass faster than rocky bodies can. Large cores begin to emerge, strong enough to pull in thick layers of gas from the surrounding disk. These become the early shapes of Jupiter and Saturn, vast worlds rising quietly in the cold, dim light far from the sun. Back in the inner regions, the rocky planetesimals continue merging. Their paths cross again and again. Some are drawn into larger bodies that become planetary embryos. These embryos grow until they dominate their orbits, sweeping away nearby dust and small stones. Earth, Venus, Mars, and Mercury begin to take shape, not as finished planets but as glowing, molten spheres wrapped in gentle clouds of dust. Imagine these young worlds, glowing with internal heat. The surfaces are soft and fluid. The light of the sun wraps around them in warm curves. They move through the disk like quiet lanterns drifting across a dark lake. Their orbits stabilize slowly, settling into the patterns we know today. Throughout this entire process, the sun continues to shine steadily. Its light warms the forming planets. Its wind clears the inner disk. Its gravity keeps everything in order. This balance creates a soft, harmonious environment where the planets can grow without chaos. As you hold this image in your mind, let the motion of the forming worlds drift through your thoughts. Feel the slow rise of structure within the disk. Feel the gentle pull of gravity guiding particles into new shapes. Feel the deeper calm that settles over the entire system as planets begin to emerge. The solar system is no longer a cloud. It is becoming a family of worlds, orbiting in quiet harmony around a young sun that has just begun its long life. As the new planets grew, the sun continued to shape their surroundings with gentle persistence. Its light strengthened, its winds became more organized, and little by little, the thick, drifting clouds of gas and dust that once surrounded the young star began to thin. This stage marked a turning point in the solar system. The sun was no longer just forming. It was now clearing a space where each world could orbit freely, illuminated by steady light. Imagine standing at the edge of the disk, watching this slow transformation unfold. The sun glows at the center, radiant and warm, surrounded by billions of particles drifting like soft grains suspended in a glowing tide. At first, this space is crowded. Dust arches in wide spirals. Gas forms gentle waves that ripple outward. But as the sun brightens, the entire scene begins to open. Solar wind flows outward in constant streams, moving like invisible rivers through the disk. These streams push the smallest particles away from the inner regions. Light scatters the finest dust, sending it drifting toward the far edges of the disk. Gas heats and expands, rising into space where the sun's wind carries it into the darkness. The once dense environment becomes clearer, more transparent. Warm light reaches farther. Shadows soften. Planets now move through a space that feels open and calm, no longer crowded by drifting clouds. In the inner regions, the rocky planets continue gathering material from what remains of the disk. Each orbit sweeps away leftover dust, refining their paths around the sun. Earth's early shape becomes smoother. Its orbit becomes more stable. Its surface cools gradually, though it is still covered in oceans of glowing molten rock. Farther out, the giant planets continue to grow. Their strong gravity pulls in gas that the sun has not yet swept away. Jupiter's massive form begins to influence everything around it, slowing some objects, ejecting others into distant orbits. The outer system becomes organized by these giants, each one quietly reshaping the distribution of matter. As the disk clears, collisions among the remaining objects become less frequent. Planetesimals that once crossed paths now settle into steady orbits. Dust that once drifted in thick clouds becomes sparse, forming faint trails that shimmer in the soft sunlight. Picture the entire solar system at this stage. It feels spacious for the first time. Light moves across the forming planets with nothing to block it. The sky around the sun glows with a calm, golden brightness. Gas and dust fade into the background, carried outward until only thin halos remain. This clearing brings a profound sense of order to the young system. Every planet finds a lane. Every orbit becomes smooth. The chaos of formation gives way to quiet structure. The sun stands at the center, no longer a newborn, but a stable, radiant star. Its light is steady. Its winds flow with gentle consistency. Its gravity holds the system in balance. Imagine drifting through this clear region now. There is no noise. There is no turbulence. Only warm light, slow motion, and the calm assurance that the sun has created a peaceful home for the worlds that orbit it. Let that calm drift into your breath. Let the image of a clearing sky settle into your thoughts. Let the slow removal of dust mirror the easing of your mind, leaving a clear, open space inside you. The solar system is now ready for the final shaping of planets, and the sun has become the glowing heart of it all. With the disk thinning and the planets settling into their gentle paths, the sun entered one of the most peaceful and enduring stages of its existence. Fusion in its core had reached a steady rhythm. Gravity pulled inward with the same strength that fusion pushed outward. These two forces met in perfect harmony, creating a state astronomers call equilibrium. For the sun, this was the beginning of a long, calm life as a stable star. Imagine the sun from close by, not so close that its heat overwhelms, but near enough to see the soft ripples of plasma drifting across its glowing surface. Waves of light move outward in smooth, flowing patterns. Dark regions appear and fade slowly as magnetic fields shift. The entire star seems alive with gentle motion, yet never in chaos. It is a controlled, timeless dance of heat and magnetism. Inside the sun, fusion continues endlessly. Hydrogen atoms move with such energy that they merge into helium, releasing warmth that spreads through the interior like a soft pulse. This pulse rises outward, scattering within the dense layers of plasma until it reaches the surface and escapes as sunlight. From the perspective of an outside observer, the sun appears constant and unwavering, but within, a deep and patient fire shines through layers of drifting light. The sun's radiance now flows across the entire solar system. Near the inner planets, the light is warm and nurturing. It bathes the young surfaces of Earth and Venus in steady heat. It reflects sharply from Mercury's rocky plains. It reaches Mars with a softer glow that stretches across the wide, cold plains of the distant world. Farther out, the light weakens, becoming a faint gold that falls gently on Jupiter, Saturn, and their moons. In these outer regions, sunlight feels like a calm whisper, touching icy surfaces with a delicate shimmer. Beyond them, the sun's light becomes dim, fading into the quiet horizon where the Kuiper belt drifts under the soft glow of a faraway star. This steady illumination brings order to the solar system. Planets settle into stable orbits, each circling with slow dignity. Asteroids drift peacefully in their belts. Comets move on long, quiet journeys into the dark. Every object follows the gravitational rhythm set by the sun's mass and light. Imagine observing all of this from high above the plane of the solar system. You would see thin rings of planets sweeping around the sun, each one glowing faintly. You would see dust trails illuminated by soft light, drifting like pale threads in space. You would see the sun at the center, shining evenly, guiding everything with a calm presence. This stage is not dramatic. There are no loud events, no sudden changes. It is a long chapter, defined by stillness, warmth, and quiet consistency. For billions of years, the sun will remain like this, shining with a slow, steady rhythm that supports the life emerging on one of its worlds. Let this sense of balance ease into your mind. Let the steadiness of the sun's light soften your thoughts. Feel your breath moving with the same patient rhythm, calm and unhurried. The sun's stability becomes your own stability. Its balance becomes your balance. Its deep calm settles over you like warm, drifting light. While the sun settled into its steady glow, another transformation unfolded deep within its vast interior. Beneath the surface, hidden from view, currents of charged particles began to move in swirling patterns. These currents formed a powerful and delicate engine known as the solar dynamo. It is this engine that creates the sun's magnetic field, a field that shapes solar winds, sunspots, and even the space environment surrounding every planet. Imagine the sun from within, descending layer by layer. The core burns with quiet intensity, where fusion produces warmth and pressure. Above it lies the radiative zone, where energy drifts outward slowly, scattering through dense plasma. Higher still, a region begins where the energy can no longer travel only by drifting light. Instead, it is carried upward by convection, rising and falling like gentle waves in a vast radiant ocean. This convective zone becomes the birthplace of the sun's magnetic field. Here, hot plasma rises toward the surface. As it cools, it sinks again, forming vast loops of motion. These motions occur on scales far larger than any ocean on Earth, stretching for immense distances through layers of glowing fluid. Within this churning region, the sun rotates. But it does not rotate as a solid object. The equator spins faster than the poles. This differential rotation stretches and twists the magnetic field lines, shaping them into spirals that wrap around the star. You can imagine these field lines like luminous threads pulled by invisible hands, weaving patterns that drift through the sun's interior. The combination of convective motion and twisting rotation forms the solar dynamo. This dynamo creates a magnetic field that expands far beyond the surface, pushing through the sun's atmosphere and extending deep into the solar system. It guides the solar wind. It shapes the structure of space near the planets. It even affects the auroras that glow on worlds with magnetic fields of their own. Picture the sun's surface now. Bright, smooth regions glow under constant light, while darker patches called sunspots appear where magnetic lines become tightly wound. These sunspots move slowly across the sun's face, carried by rotation. They form and fade with quiet rhythm, part of the magnetic cycle that unfolds over many years. Above the surface, arches of glowing plasma rise. These magnetic loops lift charged particles into long, elegant curves that shine against the sun's golden background. When these loops shift or reconnect, they release energy that travels across space as solar flares or coronal mass ejections. These events are powerful, yet even they arise from the same deep, slow movements inside the sun's magnetic heart. Imagine floating above the sun, watching this motion unfold. The surface ripples gently. Magnetic lines rise and fall in graceful arcs. Light radiates outward with steady warmth. Nothing feels rushed. Everything moves according to a quiet, cosmic rhythm shaped by the sun's interior flow. As you picture this magnetic dance, let the motion calm your thoughts. Feel the swirling movements becoming soft waves in your mind. Feel the dim light drifting through layers of plasma as a peaceful glow inside you. Let your breath match the slow rise and fall of convection, creating deeper calm with each inhalation. The sun's magnetic heart has awakened, and its influence will guide the solar system for billions of years. As the sun's magnetic heart settled into its steady rhythm, something remarkable began to flow outward in all directions. From the star's upper layers, streams of charged particles lifted away from the glowing surface and drifted into the emptiness of space. This unending outflow is known as the solar wind, a gentle but persistent breath that fills the entire solar system with a faint, whispered motion. Picture the sun surrounded by a halo of shimmering plasma. From this halo, individual particles escape with calm determination, carried along by magnetic pathways that bend and twist through the solar atmosphere. The particles glide into the void, spreading across the space between worlds and slow, graceful currents. The solar wind is not violent. It moves like a soft breeze through the cosmic darkness. It carries memory from the sun's surface, drifts quietly across the orbits of planets, touching every world in its path with the faintest hint of warmth and motion. This wind creates a vast bubble around the sun called the heliosphere. Inside this bubble, the sun's influence spreads far beyond the planets. It reaches into regions filled with drifting ice, dust, and ancient fragments left behind from the earliest days of formation. The heliosphere acts as a soft boundary, protecting the solar system from much of the harsh radiation that flows through the galaxy. Imagine flying through this region. There is no sound. There is no pressure. Only the gentle movement of particles passing by like invisible grains carried on a tide. The light from the sun grows dim with distance, but the solar wind continues, traveling outward with calm persistence. Closer to the sun, the wind interacts with magnetic loops and waves. These interactions create patterns of motion that rise above the surface in long, elegant arcs of glowing plasma. They lift and fall quietly, shaping the structure of the corona, the sun's outermost atmosphere. In these regions, The magnetic field guides the wind like a conductor leading a slow, drifting symphony. Farther out, near the planets, the solar wind stretches magnetic fields and forms graceful currents in the thin space between worlds. When the wind meets Earth, it shapes the magnetosphere, guiding particles into spiraling paths toward the poles. There, the particles touch the upper atmosphere and release gentle waves of light, forming auroras that shimmer against the quiet horizon. The wind never stops. It flows day and night. It expands through sunlight and through shadow. It glides through regions filled with dust and regions nearly empty. It carries the sun's presence across the solar system, linking every orbit with a soft, unseen thread. As you imagine this cosmic breath, let your own breath soften. Inhale slowly, as if pulling in warm light from the sun's surface. Exhale gently, releasing tension like drifting particles carried outward on the solar wind. Feel the deeper calm settling into your thoughts. Feel the slow movement of the wind weaving through your mind like a quiet lullaby made of charged particles and timeless light. The solar wind is the sun's whisper, a whisper that reaches every world, a whisper that shapes the space between planets, a whisper that has been flowing since the sun first learned to shine. With the solar wind gliding outward across the cosmic sea, the sun's atmosphere itself became a vast realm of motion, heat, and quiet transformation. Although the sun appears to us as a simple glowing disk, it is built from multiple layers, each with its own temperament and beauty. These layers work together to release light, guide magnetic fields, and shape the winds that drift across the solar system. Imagine approaching the sun without fear, held in the serenity of a calm, drifting dream. You move through the photosphere, the visible surface where the light we see is released. This region glows with a warm, steady radiance that blankets the inner planets in life-giving warmth. It appears smooth from a distance, yet up close it reveals a delicate pattern like grains on a golden sea. Each grain is a cell of rising plasma that cools and sinks in gentle cycles, creating a quiet, rhythmic texture across the surface. Above the photosphere lies the chromosphere. Here, the light becomes more diffuse and rosy. Waves of energy rise and fall in arcs shaped by magnetic lines. Spiculae, thin jets of plasma, shoot upward and fade within minutes. The entire layer flickers with soft motion, like embers drifting from a quiet fire under dim light. Farther out, the corona expands into a luminous crown of pale, glowing plasma. It is astonishingly hot, far hotter than the surface below it, heated by magnetic waves that tangle and release energy in silence. The corona stretches millions of kilometers into space, its faint streamers forming elegant shapes that change slowly over time. During a total solar eclipse, this outer atmosphere becomes visible as a silver halo surrounding the darkened sun. It appears ethereal, weightless, almost like a dream rising into the cosmic night. In these upper layers, the sun's magnetic field exerts strong influence. Lines twist and arc through the atmosphere, holding loops of plasma in suspended shapes that glow softly against the void. Some loops rise and fall gracefully, guided by the shifting magnetism. Others become unstable and reconnect, releasing bursts of energy that travel outward on the solar wind. Imagine watching the corona from a calm, floating vantage point. You see arching structures made of glowing gas. You see delicate filaments drifting outward like soft waves. You see regions of dim light opening where particles escape into space. The entire atmosphere seems alive with patient motion, yet it never feels chaotic or rushed. Every layer works with the others to guide light and energy from the sun into the solar system. The photosphere gives us the warm glow that sustains life on Earth. The chromosphere adds dynamic motion and subtle color. The corona shapes the solar wind and carries the sun's influence across distant worlds. As you picture these layers, let their calm transitions guide your breath. Inhale with the smooth rise of plasma cells. Exhale with the gentle fade of spicules drifting into the corona. Feel the deeper calm spreading through you as the sun's atmosphere settles into soft, luminous balance. This atmosphere has been shining since the sun's earliest days. It will continue to glow for billions of years, drifting outward with quiet grace, shaping the space around every planet touched by its light. Deep below the glowing surface, beneath the layers of plasma that rise and fall in slow rhythmic waves, lies the sun's core. This central region holds the true power of the star. Yet even here, where temperatures and pressures reach extraordinary levels, the process that fuels the sun is remarkably calm. It is not explosive. It is not violent. It is a quiet fire, a steady and continuous merging of atoms that gives rise to all the light and warmth we see. Imagine descending into the sun's interior in a peaceful state of suspension. The brightness around you softens into a warm haze, and the motion of plasma becomes a fluid, drifting dance. The deeper you travel, the denser the environment becomes, until you reach the heart of the star. Here, hydrogen atoms move so quickly and collide so often that they begin to fuse, forming helium and releasing energy in gentle bursts that ripple outward. Fusion begins with simple elements, the most abundant in the universe. Hydrogen, the lightest element, is squeezed so tightly under immense pressure that its particles overcome their natural repulsion. Once joined, they form helium, and the small difference in mass becomes energy. This energy appears first as gamma rays, intense packets of light that scatter endlessly through the dense plasma around them. From the core, these photons drift outward in slow, meandering paths. Each one travels only a short distance before bouncing off another particle, changing direction and losing a bit of intensity. This process repeats countless times, softening the harsh gamma rays into gentler light as they rise toward the surface. By the time they escape into space, they have transformed into the warm, golden sunlight we see from Earth. This journey takes great spans of time, yet it unfolds in silence. No rushing currents, no sudden bursts, only the constant drift of energy through layers of plasma, moving toward the surface like light filtering through fog. Above the core lies the radiative zone, a region where light moves slowly and steadily, passing from particle to particle. Here, the sun's interior feels like a quiet ocean of light, thick and luminous. Farther out, in the convection zone, heat is carried upward by rising currents. Warm plasma rises, cools, and then sinks again, creating a serene pattern of circulation that shapes the surface we observe from afar. Imagine these layers working together in harmony. The core produces energy. The radiative zone diffuses it. Convection zone lifts it toward the surface. At every stage, movement is smooth and unhurried, like gentle waves passing through a sea of golden light. Fusion also creates the balance that keeps the sun stable. Without it, gravity would crush the star inward. With it, the outward pressure from heat counteracts the pull of gravity. This equilibrium gives the sun its steady brightness, allowing it to shine without flickering or fading. Understanding this balance deepens the sense of calm the sun radiates. A star sustained by a quiet fire. A body held in perfect tension between inward pull and outward warmth. A system in which every layer, from core to corona, participates in a serene cosmic rhythm. Let this image settle into your mind. Feel the slow drift of energy upward. Feel the soft transformation of light. Feel the deeper calm unfolding as you imagine a fire that never roars, never rages, only glows with patient constancy. The sun's gentle engine has been burning since the moment of its birth. It will continue its steady rhythm long into the future, offering warmth, light, and balance to the worlds that orbit it. As the sun settled into its long and steady life, it became more than a newly formed star. It became a member of an ancient community scattered across the Milky Way. Our galaxy holds countless stars, each with its own story, its own glow, its own slow pulse of energy. The sun is only one among them, yet in its gentle radiance lies a unique balance that supports the worlds forming around it. Imagine drifting far above the solar system, slowly rising beyond the orbits of the planets until the sun appears as a warm sphere, floating in a soft pool of darkness. Around it, the planets shine like small beads of light, each following its calm path. Farther away, distant stars shimmer faintly against the quiet horizon of space. The galaxy stretches in wide, glowing bands that arc across the darkness, forming a backdrop of gentle brilliance. The Milky Way is a vast spiral structure filled with drifting dust, glowing clouds, and ancient clusters. Within this cosmic sea, the sun orbits slowly, moving through the galactic arms in a motion so gradual that it feels like drifting in a dream. The sun's place in the galaxy is neither too crowded nor too empty. It rests in a calm region where radiation levels are safe, where supernovae are distant, and where the environment allows life to flourish on the worlds surrounding it. The sun formed within a giant molecular cloud, much like other stars that now twinkle across the sky. Some of these sibling stars drift nearby, moving through the galaxy on their own slow paths. Others have already traveled far, spreading out like scattered embers from a quiet fire that burned long ago. The sun is part of this lineage, a quiet descendant of earlier generations of stars that lived, shined, and eventually faded. The elements that now make up planets, oceans, and life itself were forged in those earlier stars. Carbon, that forms living bodies. Oxygen that fills the air. Iron that lies in the core of Earth. These elements were created in ancient stellar furnaces and released into the galaxy when those stars reached their twilight. From this cosmic dust, the cloud that formed the sun was enriched, carrying traces of long-forgotten worlds. As you imagine this, picture the sun glowing softly among its neighbors. It shines with a warm, steady light that is neither too bright nor too dim. It rotates slowly, pulls gently, and shapes space around it with measured influence. Nearby stars shimmer like distant candles across a dark sea, each one drifting along its path in the quiet flow of galactic motion. In this immense setting, the sun's energy reaches only a small part of the galaxy. Yet within that small region lies the solar system, a delicate arrangement of planets and dust shaped by the sun's calm presence. The sun's warmth supports the formation of oceans on one world and the crystallization of icy rings on another. Its light nourishes atmospheres. Its magnetic field shields space from harsh galactic winds. Its gravitational pull guides everything into smooth, reliable motion. Imagine the sun's glow spreading outward in a gentle gradient. The light softens as it travels, fading into the dim light of the galaxy. Yet no matter how far it spreads, its presence remains constant, holding each planet within a stable orbit. This gentle consistency allows worlds like Earth to cool, solidify, and one day blossom with life. Let this galactic vision ease into your breath. Feel the calm of drifting among stars. Feel the quiet weightlessness of space. Feel the deeper calm that comes from knowing the sun is anchored securely within a vast and silent sea. The sun is not alone. It is one light among many. Yet for the worlds in its embrace, it is the guiding star, the steady heart, the source of warmth and gentle illumination. Even though the sun appears constant from Earth, its surface and magnetic field move through slow, repeating cycles. These are known as solar cycles, gentle waves of activity that rise and fall over long stretches of time. They shape the number of sunspots, the intensity of solar winds, and the appearance of the corona. Yet even in these changing rhythms, the sun remains calm, steady, and deeply predictable. Imagine the sun as a vast ocean of glowing plasma. Magnetic fields drift through this ocean, twisting and curling beneath the surface. Over time, these magnetic lines wind tighter, reshaping the patterns of motion around them. Sunspots appear where the magnetic lines bend upward, creating cooler regions on the surface. These spots move slowly, carried by the sun's rotation, like shadows drifting across a bright shoreline. When the magnetic field becomes most tangled, the cycle reaches its peak. Solar winds strengthen. The corona glows more intensely. Large loops of plasma rise higher in the atmosphere. Yet even at this peak, the sun does not become chaotic. Its movements remain smooth, its glow remains steady, and its influence across the solar system continues in measured waves. As the cycle shifts, the magnetic field begins to relax. Field lines drift apart. Sunspots fade. The corona becomes calmer. This phase brings the sun to a quieter state, a time when its appearance is smooth and bright without the darker patches or dramatic arcs. Then something remarkable happens. The magnetic poles flip turned. North becomes south. South becomes north. This reversal is not violent. It unfolds gradually, guided by internal flows that move like slow rivers of charged particles. You can imagine these flows wrapping around one another, shifting the entire magnetic structure into its new orientation with quiet precision. The next cycle begins as the magnetic field settles into its reverse state. Sunspots begin to form again. Solar winds vary. The rhythm rises and falls, always returning to balance. Each cycle lasts many years, a long breath drawn and released by the sun's magnetic heart. From Earth, these changes touch the planet in subtle ways. Auroras brighten during active periods, painting the polar skies with shimmering colors. The magnetosphere shapes itself in response to stronger winds. Yet daily life remains untouched because the sun's cycles operate on deep, stable patterns that unfold slowly and predictably. Imagine floating above the sun's surface, watching these cycles unfold. Dark spots form, drift, and fade. Bright arcs rise and fall in long, curved paths. Magnetic lines twist gently, then unwind. The entire star breathes with a rhythm that brings structure and calm to its endless flow of energy. Let this rhythm settle into your thoughts. Feel each inhalation matching the rise of solar activity. Feel each exhalation matching the calm return to stillness. Allow your mind to drift with these cycles, slipping into deeper calm as the sun continues its patient, timeless pattern. The sun lives through these cycles as naturally as the tides move across Earth's shores. A slow pulse, a quiet shift, a gentle return to balance. It is the heartbeat of a star in perfect harmony with itself. As the sun settled into its steady glow and the solar system began to clear, a profound relationship quietly took shape. In the warm inner region of the disk, a young rocky planet was forming. Dust and molten stone were slowly merging, guided by gravity and shaped by countless gentle collisions. This world would one day become Earth. And from the very beginning, its story was woven into the sun's light. Imagine Earth in its earliest form. It is not a blue planet yet. There are no oceans, no continents, no sky. Instead, it is a glowing sphere of molten rock, swirling with heat from constant impacts. The young sun shines upon it with a warm, golden light that softens the surrounding darkness. Everything is bright, hot, and fluid, yet the environment feels deeply peaceful in the vast silence of space. The sun provides the energy that stabilizes Earth's orbit. Its gravity shapes the path the young planet follows. Its light warms the surface, though at this early stage the warmth does little more than add a faint glow to the molten landscape. Solar winds clear the region of excess gas, allowing Earth to maintain a thinner atmosphere that will evolve over time. As the planet grows, heavier elements sink toward its center. Lighter materials rise toward the surface. This separation forms Earth's core, mantle, and crust. The molten iron in the core begins to move in slow, spiraling currents. These motions create a magnetic field that starts to interact with the sun's own magnetic breath. A delicate partnership begins, where solar winds and Earth's magnetism shape the environment around the planet. Imagine watching these interactions from above. The sun glows in soft gold. Earth glows in dim red, like a quiet ember suspended in darkness. Streams of charged particles from the sun flow outward, brushing against Earth's early magnetic field. They curve around the planet in graceful arcs, shaping a protective bubble that will one day shield life from harmful radiation. Over time, Earth cools. The molten surface thickens into crust. Volcanic plumes rise and fall. Gases escape from within the planet and begin to form a thin, primitive atmosphere. This atmosphere holds heat, reflecting some sunlight and allowing Earth's surface to change from fiery brightness to a softer, darker tone. The sun's light becomes increasingly important as the surface cools. It gently warms Earth's early oceans once water begins to appear. It drives atmospheric circulation, stirring the air and creating patterns that guide rainfall and wind. It supports the slow chemical reactions that will eventually lead to life. Picture light drifting across the young world. Sunrises and sunsets unfold for the first time. The horizon glows with warm colors as the sun's rays scatter through the new atmosphere. The calm rhythm of day and night begins, setting the pulse for every future life form that will one day open its eyes under this same sky. The sun does not rush this process. It shines with patience, providing energy at a rate Earth can absorb. It warms the surface just enough to maintain liquid water, yet not so intensely that the planet loses its atmosphere. This balance becomes one of the most important features of the sun's relationship with Earth. As you imagine these early scenes, let the slow evolution of the planet mirror your own breath. Inhale with the rising warmth of the young sun. Exhale with the cooling of Earth's surface. Feel the gentle interplay of light and matter bringing deeper calm into your thoughts. The sun and Earth begin their partnership here. A quiet star, a forming world, a connection built on warmth, gravity, and time. As Earth continued to cool and its surface grew calm enough for oceans to form, the sun's light began to play a deeper role. The planet's molten glow faded into the darkness, replaced by the soft shimmer of water reflecting early sunlight. In these quiet, shallow seas, the ingredients for life gathered slowly, guided by warmth, chemistry, and the dependable rhythm of the sun across the sky. Imagine Earth at this stage. The crust has thickened. Volcanoes release gentle streams of gas that settle into the atmosphere. Rain begins to fall in long, warm showers, filling basins and carving channels into the soft ground. Steam rises from the surface in slow, drifting clouds. The air is thick and full of potential, warmed by the sun's light that glows through layers of mist. The sun shines slightly dimmer than it does today, yet its light is steady and gentle. This faint glow creates a mild warmth that allows liquid water to remain stable on the surface. The oceans settle into calm pools where early molecules drift, scatter, and merge. Sunlight penetrates the shallow water, stirring reactions that would one day spark the first whispers of life. In these early seas, simple molecules begin linking together. Sunlight breaks apart some bonds and helps form new ones. Thermal vents on the seafloor release minerals into the water. These ingredients swirl in gentle currents, warmed from above by soft rays, and from below by Earth's internal heat. Over time, the first self-replicating structures appear, fragile but persistent, guided by chemistry and by the sun's steady warmth. Imagine standing at the edge of one of these early oceans. The water is dark but clear. The sky above glows in muted gold as the sun rises slowly over the horizon. There's no sound besides the quiet movement of waves. This world feels empty, yet filled with potential, as if each ray of sunlight carries a promise of growth. The sun becomes the regulator of Earth's daily rhythm. Its rise warms the water. Its fall cools the air. This cycle sets the pace for early chemical reactions, providing stability for fragile molecules seeking a foothold in the world. The calm repetition of day and night helps life begin to organize itself, responding to temperature shifts and light patterns. Over time, simple organisms emerge. They float near the surface where sunlight is strongest. Some learn to use light directly through primitive forms of photosynthesis. These early life forms take in sunlight and convert it into energy, slowly releasing oxygen as a byproduct. This oxygen begins to accumulate, even if only in tiny amounts at first, gradually changing the planet's atmosphere. Picture these early organisms drifting in the water. They move with gentle waves. They glow faintly when illuminated by the sun. They live simple, patient lives, shaped entirely by the interplay of water, chemistry, and sunlight. This quiet beginning sets the stage for the long evolution of life that will follow. Through all of this, the sun remains calm and steady. Its magnetic field shields Earth from harsh radiation. Its light warms oceans and stirs breezes. Its gravity keeps the planet in a stable orbit where temperatures remain suitable for life to strengthen and diversify. As you imagine these early seas under the sun's soft glow, let the image settle into your breath. Inhale the warmth of sunlight spreading across calm water. Exhale the cooling quiet of early nightfall as the sun sinks below the horizon. Let this ancient rhythm guide your thoughts into deeper stillness. Life's first steps unfold gently under the guiding light of a young star. This partnership between sun and earth grows stronger with each passing age, forming the foundation of every future moment of life on the planet. The sun's story of formation is a long, quiet journey from cold cloud to glowing star. Yet its influence continues far beyond those early ages. Even now, as it shines steadily in the center of the solar system, it shapes the destiny of every world it touches. Its light guides climates. Its warmth sustains oceans. Its magnetic breath shields planets from harmful radiation. Everything that lives and moves on Earth carries some trace of the sun's gentle legacy. Imagine standing far above the solar system, watching from a calm, drifting height. The sun glows at the center like a warm heart. Planets circle it in peaceful arcs, each following the paths carved by the sun's gravity. Sunlight stretches outward into the darkness, fading slowly but never fully disappearing, illuminating dust trails and icy fragments in the far reaches of space. Earth spins quietly within this light. Its atmosphere glows soft blue where sunlight scatters through air molecules. Oceans shimmer with calm waves that reflect golden hues as the sun rises and sets. Forests, deserts, and mountains respond to the warmth of daylight. Life breathes in rhythm with the cycles created by the sun's motion across the sky. Even the smallest moments on Earth trace their origins to this quiet star. The warmth of morning light touching your skin, the soft glow that colors clouds at twilight, the steady pattern of days and seasons, all arise from the sun's gentle balance of fusion and gravity, a balance that has not wavered since the star first found its strength. Imagine the sun's interior now, still burning with calm intensity. Hydrogen continues to fuse into helium. Energy drifts outward through layers of plasma. Convection carries heat to the surface. Light escapes and begins its long journey across space. What appears as a simple ray of sunlight is the final chapter of a photon's long, drifting path from the sun's core to your world. The sun's magnetic field extends across the solar system, forming a protective bubble that shields planets from harsh interstellar particles. Solar winds stream outward, shaping auroras that shimmer in Earth's high latitudes. These winds travel far, reaching out beyond the edges of the known planets, carrying the sun's influence into the deep void. Even as it ages, the sun remains steady. Its light has supported life on Earth for billions of years and will continue to do so for many ages to come. Eventually, the star will change, expanding into a red giant and shedding its outer layers. But that future lies far ahead, in an age beyond all present memory. For now, the sun is stable and calm, providing warmth and balance to the worlds orbiting it. Imagine the sun as you drift into deeper calm. Its glow softens in your mind, becoming a warm sphere surrounded by silence. Its light reaches outward in gentle, widening waves. Its presence fills the sky with a sense of peace that stretches across all of time and space. Let this image ease your thoughts into quiet. Let the star's steady rhythm settle into your breath. Let the faint warmth of imagined sunlight soothe the mind and soften the edges of the day. The sun's formation was a story of patience and gentle transformation. Its life is a long era of balance and quiet illumination, and its influence continues as a steady, calming presence in the sky, guiding Earth through cycles of light, warmth, and time. As this journey ends, allow the rhythm to slow. Allow the light to dim gently. Allow the calm to deepen, settling softly like dust in the quiet spaces between stars.